What's up, you data friends? It's Yanis here and welcome to my channel. In this video, I am going to show you how to deploy your machine learning model results from Python into Power BI. And more specifically, I'm going to show you how to build this Power BI dashboard from scratch. In this dashboard, we have our predictions, which is the potential churns, the most important variables affecting customer churn, and then a customer details breakdown table where the business can actually see which customers are going to churn and the probability of those customers becoming churns. And just to explain you how all this process works, in the previous two videos, we have explained how to run 3 different machine learning models in Python. So we've run a decision tree, then we've run a random forest machine learning model, and then we've run an extreme gradient boost machine learning model. Then we've adjusted their hyperparameters in order to improve our models. And when we were happy with our final model, we tested it on completely unseen data. We've made predictions whether they're going to be customer churns or not and the probability of them becoming a customer churn. And at the end, we've outputted our results in both an SQL server and a CSV file. These results now, which is going to be this CSV file over here, is going to be the input that we are going to use to build this Power BI dashboard where we can display our results to the wider business. Right, and before we jump into building this Power BI dashboard, let me just say that if you're new to my channel and you're passionate about data science, then please consider liking this video, subscribing to my channel, and enabling notifications for my future videos. Right, so the first thing we want to do is to open a new blank Power BI file and import our raw data. For this video, I'm going to show 2 ways of importing raw data. The first one is going to be via an SQL server, and the second one is going to be via an Excel CSV file, but both raw data are going to be the same. Right, to get the data from an SQL server, we need to click on Get Data and then click on SQL Server over here. Then under server, we need to go back into our SQL and click somewhere over here, get our SQL server name, which is this one over here, copy it, go back into Power BI, paste it, and then click OK as import. Now we need to select the database and then the table name. So my table name is this one, Churn Predictions Output. So if I click it over here, we get a small display of what our table is going to look like. And you can see we have our predictions over here. And then we click on load data, and this is going to load our data over here. There we go. We have our raw data over here under churn predictions output. Actually, I'm going to rename this into .sql. So now this comes from SQL. And another way, there are some pending changes. We can click on apply changes. And the way to import your raw data from Excel, you click on Home, click on Excel over here. Then you're going to need to select the raw data. So mine is saved over here. So it's this one over here. I click on it, I click Open. Here we get a display of our data. You can see it's exactly the same as this one over here. And then if we click on Load, it's going to load it over here. There we go. And then I'm going to rename this one as the Excel one. And both of these raw data tables, if we go over here to visualize them, both of them have exactly the same column names and the same data in them. Right, next I want to click over here under the connections, and I want to make sure that these 2 tables are not connected, because Power BI identified itself that we can link these 2 tables based on customer ID. But because these tables are the same, I don't really need this connection. I am only going to use one of these tables. So I've deleted the connection. Right, if I go on the home page now, here, the first thing I always do is I change the page size so I can make it longer and fit more things in it. So if we click here where we have format and then under page size, we want to make this custom, and I want to make the width 1500 and I want to make the height 1300. Then I want to go under view, and then I want to change this into fit to width so we can use all the space. And also I want to change the page background to this color over here. So if I click under colors, custom color, you can copy and paste exactly this color I have over here, and then set the transparency to 0. So we have this light color on our background. The next thing I want to change is our theme. So I always like to use the classic theme because this gives me different colors than this one. If I go under colors now, you can see we have a different palette versus this one over here. Because if I click on this one, then check the colors, you can see it's different. If I click on this one, check the colors, you can see it's different. Right, so the first thing I want to add now is our title. So we go under insert and we click on a text box. Then we want to resize our text box so it takes almost all the page. So here is fine, I think. Then we need to add the name of our title. So I'm just going to copy it and paste it quickly from over here, copy, paste. Now I want to resize my title into size 28 maybe. Then I want to click over here so we put it in the middle. And on the right hand side, I want to add a background, and our background is going to be white. And also I want to add a border. So let's add a light gray, maybe this one. And also add a radius of 10. So we have these small curves at the edge of our text box. Now we can make this a bit smaller maybe, and then drag it a bit further down over here. Next, we want to add our logos. So I'm going to add 2 random logos I have, but you can add any logo you want. So if I go over here, one of them is this one, which is the bank. And the other logo I want to add is the Data 360 YP logo. So this one over here. Now I can resize them and then put them here at the top. Right, moving on, we need to add our slicers now, which is these slicers over here. And we're going to start with H. To add a slicer now, we need to go under visuals and click over here where it says slicer. And then in the field of this slicer, we need to drag the H, which is the H over here. Then we can resize this one, put it here at the top. In order to copy and paste the same formats from our text box, for example, the white background and the edgy corners, what we can do is that we can click on this text box, click under home the format painter, and then touch on our new visual. And as you can see now, we have the white background and the edgy corners, and also the color of our border, the same color. So now, we want to click on our visual, we want to go under here where it says format, we want to remove the slicer header, and we want to add a title. The title is going to be H, the font is going to be black, and also the alignment in the middle, and maybe the text size, we can make it 11 or 12. Yeah, let's leave it 12. Now we need to move on to our second slicer, which is the country and then the number of products. So very quickly, I can copy this and then paste it, put it next to it, and then change the field from age into country, which is geography over here. So if I add it on top, if I remove this one, then if I click over here, change the title from age to country, then I want to go into general because I don't like this format, and I want to change the orientation into horizontal. There we go. Next, I want to change the background of these items into the same background as we have for our report. So very quickly, I'm going to click out of the visual, go here, go under the page background, and then copy this color. So custom, then I want to copy this. So this same background, then click on our slicer, go here, click under items, the background, and then change it into the one we have just copied. There you go, you can see. And also change the font color into black. There we go. Next, I want to move on into our next slicer, which is going to be the number of products and the predictions. Actually, we have a different color for font here. Let's do the same color. So very quickly, if we click back, we go over here under the items, change the font. I think is this one over here. There we go. Next, I want to copy this and paste it twice. So one of them is going to be the number of products, and the other one is going to be the predictions, I think. Let me check quickly. Yeah, predictions. So very quickly, I'm going to change this to the number of items, which is this one over here. Then I need to change the title into the NO of items. This one is going to be the predictions description, but I'm going to change the title quickly. So predictions. Then over here, I need to change this into the predictions churn or not description. There we go. You can see churn or retention. And the last one we have is the prediction probability. So I can copy this visual now, copy, paste it, and then change the age to the prediction probability. Age, then prediction probability, this one over here. As you can see, it created it in a different format. So very quickly, I'm going to delete this one because I don't want to lose time. Click on the slicer over here, and then in this new slicer, drag the prediction probability. There you go. We have the bar straight away, the slider, that's what it's called. Then I'm going to click over here, click on Format Painter, touch this one. So we have the same formats. Then I want to resize it here at the top, leave some space, and then I want to add a title, and the title is going to be the prediction probabilities. Right, next I want to change the size of all of them just to make sure they are the same size and also they are equally distanced between each other. So to do that, I need to select all of them by pressing Ctrl down and selecting all of my slicers. Then under here and under general, I want to make the width of all of them into maybe 287. Click enter. You can see they're all smaller now. Then I need to move this one to be exactly under my title. And then I need to select all of them again. Go under format and under align them at the top, and at the same time distribute horizontally so they are equally distanced from each other. Right, so the next thing we need to do now is to create these two cards, which is the new customers and the potential churns. To do this now, we need to go back in our dashboard and we need to click over here where it says card. Then I need to resize this one, but I want to make it exactly as this one over here. So I'm just going to copy the sizes. So under general, I can see is 269225. So under general is going to be 26. Ooh, it's locked because I don't have any fields in them. So if I drag the field, which is going to be the customer ID, and I want to count distinct. There we go, count distinct. And then over here, it was 269, 269, and then 225, I think. Let me check again. 269, 225, that's correct. And if I click enter, there we go. Next, I want to change my format. So I'm going to do the format painter that I have shown you before. So just touch on it. Now we have the same background, the same border, and the same colors. Next, I want to click on it, go over here, and then remove the category label because I don't want that count over there. And I also want to add a title, and the title is going to be new customers. There we go. Size 12, I think is fine. Next, I want to change the color of the data label and maybe this dark green over here, and then make it a bit larger. So maybe, I don't know, 36, yeah, 37. Now I need to repeat the same process for the potential churns, but I'm just going to copy this, paste it next to it like this, add it over here, change the name of it into potential churns. Potential churns. Then I need to, in filters now, because I only want to see churns, I need to add a filter on this visual, and the filter is going to be the churn or not. And under here, I want to have a basic filter, and I only want to display the customers that are predicted to be churns. So this one over here. So as you can see, now this is sliced to only the churns. And now I need to change the data label color to be red. So I'm just going to click a random red. Also, I'm going to change the size of it to 40. And I'm going to do the same for this one, I think. I'm going to change the size of this one to be 40. So slightly bigger. Right, next we need to add these 4 graphs over here, these scatter plots, which are the most important variables affecting our churns. And the way we have identified these variables is that if you watch the previous 2 videos, in Python, when we've run the most important features, so these features over here, we found out that age, number of products, and isActiveMember1 are the most important figures contributing to churn. Also, when we've added the max depth to be 3, so another level of breakdown, we found out that balance is also contributing in our model, if you go back and watch those videos. So for these 4 graphs now, I am going to use the age, the number of products, the isActive, and also the balance. So if I go back into our dashboard now, to create a scatter plot, we need to click over here under visualizations. Then we need to put it over here, maybe resize it a bit. Now I need to drag into my x-axis the age. So let me hide this one. So I'm going to use age. And then as a y, I'm going to use the credit score, let's say. So where is the credit score? So this one over here. Then under the legend, I want this to be split into churns and retention. So I'm going to use this churn or not under the legend. And under the details, I'm just going to drag all our customers. So this is how it's going to look like. Now I need to make it look more readable. So under the formats over here, I'm going to go under the shapes and I'm going to make them much smaller. So maybe minus, I don't know, 11 for now. Then I want to customize my series, which means that I can set the zeros, which are the people who are retaining, so not churning as these bubbles over here. And then we can set the ones that are churns into this shape over here. So we have 2 different shapes. Next, what we can do is that we can change the colors. So zeros, I want them to be the greens as we have them. And ones, I want them to be these reds over here. There we go, we can see them. Also, maybe we can make it a bit smaller because they are still too much to read. Let me check which size we have over here. So for this one, we have it under minus 22. So let's do minus 22 over here too. So 2, there we go, click enter, there we go. So you can see now that the churns, we need to add the legend actually. Let's add the legend into the bottom center. And then let's rename this one as the predictions. There we go, predictions. So what this is telling us, if I make it a bit bigger, so if we hide this, is that most of our churns are concentrated between the age of 30 and 60. So you can see them over here. Now I am going to resize these to exactly the same size as these ones so we can fit 4 of them. So I'm going to copy the sizes. So under general, this one is 456 and 306. So it's going to be 456 and then this one is 306. Click enter. Now I need to fix my title. So my title font is going to be black, then in the middle, then the text size is going to be 12. And the title of this one is going to be age versus credit score by prediction. There we go. The next step now is to copy the formats of this one, so the white background and the edgy corners, and then touch on this graph over here. So now it's white and it's more readable. Next, I need to replicate this graph now 3 more times to include the other important variables. So I can copy it, I can paste it 1, then 2, then 3 times, and now I need to change the variables in those scatter plots. Right, so we're going to start with this one, and this one is going to be age versus balance. So we can switch the credit score with the balance, which is this one over here. However, what you can see is that balance is not numeric, it's as text. So it's not going to work if I try to drag it. The way to understand if it's numeric or not is the sum next to the column. So you can see that S doesn't exist in balance. And it's the same with the isActiveMember and number of products, which we need to do over here. To change those now from text into numeric, we need to right click on here and go in edit. So edit this query. Then in this editor, we need to select those columns. So the first one is the balance. Then we click control. The next one is the number of products. And the other one is the is active member. And then under home, under the data type, we can change these to decimal numbers. Before it was text, as you've seen. That's why it was not going to work. Then we can click close and apply, and this is going to switch them from text into numbers. So now we will be able to drag balance into this graph over here. So now you can see we have the S, and then if we drag it into our y-axis, you can see we have loads of zeros now, and I am going to exclude them. And the way to do that is under filters for this visual, under balance, we can change this to be is greater than, so this one over here, and then say is greater than 1, and click on apply filter, and this should exclude all the zeros. There you go, you can see it excluded all the zeros. And again, what this is telling us is that from ages between 40 and 60, and then anyone that has more than 0.2 million is almost always a churn, and most of the churns are concentrated between these balances and these ages over here. We also need to change the title of this one, so this is going to be age versus balance. Balance. Yep. Now we need to move on into age versus number of products. So we can remove the credit score and we can add the number of products into the y-axis. So again, what this is telling us is that anyone that has number of products 3 or 4 is almost always a churn. That's why this is an important variable. And from the people who are between 40 and 60 and they have one product, again, they are more likely to churn. There you go. So now I need to change the title of this one into age versus number of products. So this is number of products. And then the last one over here is the age versus the is active member. If I go over here, I can remove the credit score and I can add the is active member over here. This is not very visually appealing, but it is an important variable because what it's telling us is that anyone who is active and is more than 62 will almost never churn. But before 62 and up until here, they are more likely to churn. It also tells us that anyone who is less than 20 and is not active will almost never churn. And at the same time, anyone who is not active and between 40 to 60 is more likely to churn. However, because it's not visually appealing, we can change it or we can leave it. It's up to you. Now, something important to add here is that what we could have done is to have a table with the most important features or variables and their feature importance. However, it was going to be very difficult for the business to understand what is feature importance and what it means. Hence, a better way of displaying this feature importance and the important variable is a visual way as we've done it over here. Now, anyone can look at these graphs from the business without knowledge of machine learning and understand that these variables are important, which is why I'm suggesting doing it this way versus having a physical table displaying the feature importance. Right, let's just change the name of this one now, which is age versus is active. There we go, 0 and 1. The next thing we need to do now is to add this map over here so the business can visualize from where the predictions are coming. So we go back over here, we click on this map. Then we want to resize this map to take all the space available down here. Then under location, we want to drag the geography. Under the size, we want to track the number of people, so the number of customer IDs. So I'm going to count this thing over here. No, this is the sum, count this thing. And then under the legend, we want to know if it's a customer churn or not, so zeros and ones. Now I need to make this more visually appealing. So the first thing is that I am going to copy the formats and then paste them in this visual. So the white background and the same border color. Next, I want to click over here and change the map style to be the dark one. So it's much easier to view it and read it now. And also I want to change the data colors. I'm going to leave this one as green, and the ones I'm going to put them as this red over here, which is the same red as before. Next, I want to change the legend position. So I'm going to move it into bottom center down here. And I'm going to rename this as just the predictions without the churn or not. Next, I want to change my title into the same title as the one above here. So I'm just going to copy it and paste it very quickly. And the title is the number of customers per country and per prediction. And also I want to change the bubble sizes so they are a bit bigger. So maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I think this is fine. Right, the last thing we need to do in our dashboard now is this customer details table, where the business can actually come and see which customers, specific customers, their name and their details are going to be churned. So the ones we are predicting them to be churned, and by what probability, because we also have the probability. To do this table now, we need to head back into our dashboard and we need to click over here, which is the table. We need to resize this table to take all the space, and we also need to copy the formats from here and touch it on this table. So we have the edges and the white background. Next, we need to add the values now, and it's almost all the values. So I'm going to start with the customer ID and make sure this is not sum because it's not a value, so don't summarize. Then we have surname, geography, and gender. So where is the surname, then geography, then gender. Then we have age, has credit card, and then credit score. So age, then has credit card, this one, and then the credit score. Then we have the estimated salary, balance, and is active member. So estimated salary, balance, is active member. You can see everything slowly appearing over here. Then we have the number of products, tenure, and then the predictions. So where is the number of product, the tenure, and then we need this prediction, and then this prediction. So let's see, that's the probability. Maybe we can move this one first. So first we have it in text, then we have it 0. 0 and 1 we don't really need because we do have this prediction in the description whether it's a churn or not. So I'm just going to remove this one over here and I'm going to leave just this ones. Right, now I want to go into the general over here and I want to change, no, it's actually under style, and I want to change the style into minimal. I find this much clearer. And I want to make sure I'm using all the space. So I'm just going to make some of these columns a bit bigger just to make sure we're using all the space because it looks nicer. Right, next we need to add a title, and the title is going to be the customer's details. So if I go under title and I'm just going to say customer details. Next, what we can do for this to look nicer is to rename all these values names to have capitals. So it's much nicer, but we're going to waste a bit of time. So you can do this yourself. All you have to do is double click on this ones and then change the first letter to be capital. So it looks nicer. Next, we need to make the column names, the column headers, I think, a bit bigger so they are easier to read. So I'm going to make them 11. And as you've seen now, I have used a lot more space. So I'm just going to make this smaller and this one smaller. Actually, I'm going to rename these last two so we have more space. So this is our predictions and this is our probability. There we go. You can see we have more space now. And also I'm going to align the column names to be, the column headers to be in the middle. So here I'm going to put it in the center. Right, the last thing we have to do now is to add some conditional formatting rules like we have over here in the last two columns, which are our prediction, which is basically going to say if it's a churn, then mark it as red, so you can visually see it straight away. And if it's not a churn, then mark it as green. So to do this, we need to head over back here, click on our table, go into conditional formatting, then select our column, which is the predictions, and then add a background color Here is where we need to say format by color scale. Actually, I'm going to say format by rules. And the rules is only going to be based on a different field. And that field is going to be the customer churn or not the numbers. So this one. So if the sum of this one is 0, and I'm going to make this a number, then I want to have this as green. And also I want to have a new rule that is saying that if the value is 1, so a churn, and this is a number, then make it as this light red over here. So if I click OK now, you can see that retentions are green and the churns are red. And for the probability to churn now, I need to select the column, then I need to add background. But this background, I'm going to click on advanced and I'm going to change the coloring. So the lower the value, the better it is because it's a low probability to churn. And the higher the value, the worse it is because there is a higher probability to churn. So as you can see now, the ones that have higher probability to churn are a bit more red. Also, for this one, for example, I think I'm going to make it a bit more distinct. So I'm going to select this red over here. So it's a bit more distinct to the eye because this customer over here, we are not predicting him to be or her to be a churn. However, is very close to the threshold because it's 0.74. If it was 0.51, then this was going to be a churn. And this is why we need the probability. So a good way for the business now, for them to understand the ones that are close to the threshold, what they can do is that they can monitor the threshold from here. So if they change the prediction probability to be anything more than 40%, then despite the fact that not everyone here is marked as a churn, these people have more than 40% probability to be churns in the future. This is why we need the churn probability, and this is why we have this slicer at the top. And you, as a data scientist or a data analyst, should explain to the business what this prediction probability means and how to use it. And the next step, if this was a real business scenario, it was going to be us clicking over here, publish report. And this is going to publish our report in an online workspace where you can generate a link where you can send it into the wider business. So the business was not going to see the desktop version of Power BI, so nothing like visualization or fields. They will only be able to click on that link and see a web application of your results. So this dashboard you see over here. And this is why I keep saying that data scientists need to know how to use data visualization tools, because this is a way of deploying your machine learning model results. Right, data friends, so this is it for this tutorial, and I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you've gained enough value out of all the videos within this series. If you feel like you did, please click that like button, subscribe to my channel, and enable notifications for my future videos. If you want to contribute to my channel, I have just created a Patreon account. It's going to be in the link below. If you have any questions, then please let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching this video, and I'm going to see you in the next video.